Gooby watching UFOs?
Need some advice, Rockhead. Make sure you get drunk or hit a stick of PCP before you go over there.
Ooh, you saw Alien? Keep shit cool. Everybody.
Yeah. Light your blunts. Get your drinks. The show's about to begin. Welcome to the Goose Show. We got Pomona in the building. Talk about the aliens, the government we tripped. Talk about the flying saucers, seeing from the building. Higher than I'm feeling, they look rather appealing. The Goose Show. They abducting the human race. Aliens appearing and moving in outer space. Ancient text mentions I'm sharing wisdom with all. But humans don't be listening, rather start them a war. Fucking off the planet, pollution causing the damage. I'm chilling in Pomona where homies talking in Spanish. Let the world know about Pomona teaching the math. Shout out to Kev, Mac, Omar, Bradley, and my kids. My wife and two, because they know I'm a survivor. 5 shots couldn't take me down cause I'm a rider. Then was on the ventilator, still I had to rise up. Telling y'all the truth, man, I'm here to remind you. It's only up for me from now to the future. Thanks for your support and I'ma give you what you used to. Knowledge, wisdom, and understanding what they demanding. So look out for the aliens, they landing. The Goose Show, we got Pomona in the building. Talk about the aliens, the government be tripping. Talk about the flying saucers, seeing from the building. Higher than I'm feeling, they look rather appealing. The Goose Show, we got Pomona in the building. Talk about the aliens, the government be tripping. Talk about the flying saucers, seeing from the building. Higher than I'm feeling, they look rather appealing. The Goose Show.
Hey, cuz, you know what I'm saying? Niggas always got my name in their mouth. Speaking on some shit they know nothing of, you feel me? Truth is, these niggas wish they was in my position. The only thing they can do is hate, you feel me? And speak on some shit they don't know nothing of. Niggas don't know me from a can of paint. You niggas just know of me. Remember that. Woo! I guess a fuck, knuckle up, they ain't the same when they see me. I hit them up like, what's up? What's that shit you was saying? Now speak it up, get off my nuts before these bullets start raining. I'm on West Side, baby, yeah, the G planted in me. I guess a fuck, knuckle up, they ain't the same when they see me. I hit them up like, what's up? What's that shit you was saying? Now speak it up, get off my nuts before these bullets start raining. I'm on West Side, baby, yeah, the G planted in me. Busted caps on these niggas, bullet holes in they Prius. All these bad bitches sprung, break their necks when they see us. I hit them up, motherfucker, chunk the G in the sky. All that acting tough, nigga over here that don't fly. So realize who you fucking with, I drop them like pennies. Ski scurry in the field, now these niggas is fleeing. Yeah, these niggas say they hate me, but they still wanna be me. Talking shit behind my back, but be a fan when they see me. Sit back, little homie, they take a sip of this potion. Plus I murder competition and dump their ass in the ocean. Body floating, I keep on going, busting niggas like bows. Should've let the dog loose, now these niggas in trouble. I guess it's fuck, knuckle up, they ain't the same when they see me. I hit them up like, what's up? What's that shit you was saying? Now speak it up, get off my nuts before these bullets start raining. I'm on West Side, baby, yeah, the G planted in me. I guess a fuck, knuckle up, they ain't the same when they see me. I hit them up like, what's up? What's that shit you was saying? Now speak it up, get off my nuts before these bullets start raining. I'm on West Side, baby, yeah, the G planted in me. I handle my own, I got my niggas, one call if I need them. Ain't no talking, it's on sight, I swear to God when I see them. MTB, that's my nigga, they need to hurry and free him. And if your nigga fucking up with baby girl, you should leave him. Trust no nigga, never know when you'll fall out. Heavy on the mic, a big dog with my balls out. Holler my name, I come through, erupting your shit. Nightmare on your street when I'm fucking your bitch, you feel me? A wise man in this wicked ass land. I don't fuck with fake people, ain't no shaking my hand. Seen a lot of shit, nigga, and still 10 toes in. And ain't no losing in my lane, cause I was born to win. I give a fuck, knuckle up, they ain't the same when they see me. I hit them up like, what's up? What's that shit you was saying? Now speak it up, get off my nuts before these bullets start raining. I'm on West Side, baby, yeah, the G planted in me. I guess a fuck, knuckle up, they ain't the same when they see me. I hit them up like, what's up? What's that shit you was saying? Now speak it up, get off my nuts before these bullets start raining. I'm on West Side, baby, yeah, the G planted in me. that I spit go from the streets to the pen. I never was the type to turn a motherfucker in. If a nigga got a problem, go ahead and press your issue. My gun go bang, let a motherfucker miss you. I'm about my money 365 days. If you one of my niggas, then we all getting paid. My niggas, never ever switch sides. My niggas, yeah, they always down the ride. If you touch one of mine, then you getting packed out. I ain't scared of you niggas, just point the motherfucker out. And I'm catching off age with no goddamn doubt. Better tell your homie to watch his scary ass mouth. I refuse to die, to let a hating nigga kill me. I refuse to die, I know my real niggas feel me. I refuse to die. Refuse to die. I refuse to die, to let a hating nigga kill me. I refuse to die, I know my real niggas feel me. I refuse to die. Refuse to die. Yeah. These niggas still do the same shit. Better watch your back, cause you get smoked from who you hang with. We hitting licks, so fuck you setting what you claim, nigga. Niggas act so horrid when they bang, nigga. What a shame, I had the homie snatch your chain, nigga. Now your tail tucked when you went with your gang, nigga. You bitch made these hollow points for you fuck niggas. You out of luck, niggas. Fuck around, they gon' fuck around, leave you stuck, nigga. This real shit is for my real ones. You ain't a killer if you ain't never ever killed one. Look through the barrel of the gun, tear up your lungs. One shot like Cupid, it'll get you sprung, nigga. To let a hating nigga kill me. I refuse to die. I know my real niggas feel me. I refuse to die. Refuse to die. I refuse to die. To let a hating nigga kill me. I refuse to die. I know my real niggas feel me. I refuse to die. Refuse to die.
Welcome to the Groove Show. I am Groove. I'm on the representation in this YouTube shit. That's just a message to my homie. They keep wanting to say my name for no reason. Anybody else that's hating on the nigga, man, for no reason. Shout out to everybody. I'm just here on this my UFO thing. Don't trip. Shout out Michelle. Southside Compton. What's good with you, homie? Miss 702. Appreciate y'all stopping through. Got a few others that ain't in the chat up in the background. So if you're up in the background, nigga, you know where I'm coming from. Send that message to that nigga. Keep my name out your damn mouth, homie. Family man 247. What's good with you, homie? Today I want to talk about the drought. I want to talk about what people really don't talk about on the West Coast. How long is our water system gonna contain big cities like Vegas, California, Arizona, New Mexico, Colorado, anything on the West Coast? Because we don't even talk about that. And that's something different. And we don't talk about why we ain't transferred seawater or try to take the salt out of seawater, which we have more water on our planet than we do um, have land on Earth. And it's crazy. You know, what people fail to realize, especially Vegas, whoever's living in Vegas or around that, I mean, even California, but Vegas mainly, because Vegas depends 70% or 80% with this video I'm going to show on the dependence of the Hoover Dam. But the Hoover Dam is only maybe 5 years from draining out. And if they don't stop it, the power system that they built the Hoover Dam on is not going to be able to power up what's in Vegas. I don't care how rich you are or how high off you living, you can't live more than 3-4 days without having water. And that's what, I want to show the video. I just want to talk about it because I see it in the news. They do talk about it. A lot of people say, well, we've seen that um, Lake Mead is drying up where they're finding bodies. I remember back in 80 something, I had a homeboy named Brian. Shout out to my homie Brian. His dad used to take us to Salton Sea. Salton Sea is drying up. All these lakes on the West Coast are drying up. Most people move to the West Coast because of the functions of what was going on when they were making reservoirs to sustain the populations. But you got to understand, we're building and building. If you go outside, you still see constructions of buildings and houses being built, buildings, commercial buildings being built. All those have to have water to contain anybody that's in those buildings. How are you still building buildings when you're in a drought? You're in a tier 1, tier 2 drought. California can only water their grass 1 or 2 times. In Arizona, a lot of us don't have grass at all. We have rocks. Why? Because they want to cut down the usage of water. How long are we going to use up the water system? If y'all look in Jacksonville, Jackson, Mississippi, their water plant we have enough rain to sustain it, but they don't have no control of controlling that rain to use it for the purpose of drinking water. I remember there was a study on the bottled water. All bottled water isn't good for you. People may think, okay, I need to get some bottled water. But I've seen tests on some of the bottled water, and some are just getting their money to get their money off the bottled water. We don't know if all the bottled water is good to us. It looks clear and clean, but what if we was to test it? And that's what my subject is today. Um, if anybody has anything to add to it, I'd appreciate it. But I believe at some time, and I've said this once before, and it was based on the Arctic icebergs melting, that the seas are rising. The beaches like Florida think they're going to continuously have those um, mansions and big condos on the water, and it's not going to get flooded out. It's not going to drop. You can't just build a part of land and think that water is not going to contain or outflow it. Um, King Real, what's up with you, my brother? I appreciate you stopping through. Cowboy up in the building. And I just want to discuss that. This is nationwide. A drought and this, and we don't talk about it as much. You know, people are burning up. Even in the Midwest, you getting 110 degrees weather. Out of the country, they getting where I seen something in Europe. Europe never gets. That's why people go to Europe, because they say it's always cloudy, it's always raining. But now Europe is getting to the heat indexes of us. They might be at just 80 or 90 degrees, but those folks for 100, 200, 300 years have never even got to that level of heat index. That heat index is dehydrating and taking away the water systems. And that's what we need to look at. We need to look at climate change. You know, already our school systems are dumbing down the next generation. Not my kids, but my grandkids. That generation. We need people to stand up and say, hey, we need to do something about climate change. But is it too late? We had reservoirs systems for California, which was the Hoover Dam. If you look at the levels in the last 20 years of how far it has disintegrated, because we've used up water excessively and don't think about it. We don't think about that commodity. Will water be the next gold? Because you're not going to be able to live without water. No ifs, ands, and buts. I don't care what person, who you are, or where you at. You can't live without water, and we can't drink seawater. But how much seawater do we have? Why isn't we can do everything. We're trying to get to the moon. We're trying to get to Mars. We're trying to build everything to make cities bigger. Super Bowl, all these fantastic money making things. I don't care how much money you have. If you don't have water, you're not going to survive. And we're not going to survive in a few years on these outskirts of big cities like California, Arizona, New Mexico, Colorado, Washington. Washington and them, I think they may get more rain or snow, but we're getting less snowfalls. We're getting less snow on the mountains. Have you seen ski season? Ski seasons are pushed back because they're not getting enough snow there to even do it. King Real say it's sad that climate change hasn't been America's top priority, and it's not. It's not. We don't talk about it. Oh, we're good as content creators to talk about what's going on. Hey, Zero got beat up by this nigga, or they did that, or some social issues like that of somebody getting beat up, or what's the other one that's trending? Dude and them, and I can't even think of their name because I don't look at and worry about people that's in the industry, that's in the movie industry or comedians or whatever, but they're Haddish and oh boy, that's trending like a mom. But then when you look at, damn, it's hot as hell when it's supposed to be wintertime. Ain't nobody talking about that. Cowboy said water probably won't be the next goal, but could definitely be the cause of a great war in the far and near future. But Cowboy, if you don't have water, you can't survive, right? So if I have gallons and gallons and gallons of water, I remember we went to Cali like I think it was 4 months ago, and we went to my wife's cousin's house. They have a tank in the back of that grab rainwater within that tank. That's what everybody's going to have to start doing. Every household is going to have a tank. So when it rains, you can grab that fresh water. Or you're going to be dependent on whatever state or city has that water, and are they sending it through the right program for you to drink it? Because a lot of times we don't do nothing but reuse sewer water. We have to go through a plant treatment system to get it out. But once that plant treatment system gets flooded out, like what happened in Jacksonville, the water is no good anyway. Family Man said, damn, Goob, you are saying everything I was saying word for word. We have technology for everything else. We can't clean up seawater for consumption. Exactly, Family Man. And I can't understand as much seawater that we have. We are not, that should be a priority. The president needs to be on the news on something and saying, listen, the mayor, the governor of California, the governor of Arizona, the governor of New Mexico, the governor of Texas, anything that's on the West Coast that's using the water coming from the Colorado River and the Hoover Dam need to be saying, listen, there's not going to be another. When I show you this video and the droppage of the water in the last 20 years, and it's already at its limit, We don't have but 5 or 10 more years before it's done. In Vegas, oh, you a party all day in Vegas. But if Vegas doesn't have the water resources from that Hoover Dam to run their electricity, homie, Vegas is about to fail. Mark my word. Say it and say, hey, damn it, Goob was right on his. It's gonna evaporate, and Vegas will be no more. Vegas will be no more. Vegas gonna have to use their own water. Where you gonna get it from? California. Where you gonna get it from? You're gonna be making your own systems to drink seawater. CB, what's good with you, bro? I appreciate y'all coming in, man. Hit the like button when y'all come in and go out, or hit the dislike button. As I always say, hey, I never conform to say I'm good or I'm bad on what I do. I just speak. So you can hit the like button, you can hit the dislike button. Each one of them is going in analytic because I don't have that many people in my shit. No way. Um, But you're saying it costs too much money to convert salt water to. Okay. Henny guy, let me ask you a question. What is your money worth for life? What is money worth to you if you can't have the resources to drink water? Because everybody needs water. Plants need water. You can't get food. You can't get crops. You can't live without water. Our bodies is basically what our land is. If any black person has ever talked about it and they look at the resources of the body compared to the earth, we are that same capacity. We need water every day. Try to go 2, 3, 4 days without drinking nothing and see how you gonna sleep. See how you gonna move, especially at 100 and something degrees. Matter of fact, while it's 100 degrees, I ain't turned on my fan and I'm in my man cave. Hold on. I got to turn on my fan just to get the air to cool off. What if we didn't have that? Because you got to understand, a lot of the water rotates to give us electricity. The Hoover Dam was made to give us electricity. If it drains all the way out, we won't have electricity. We won't have water. We won't have nothing. When it's gone, it's gone. We're not thinking about that, my brother. David Reed, what's up with you, my brother? He said, saw some lake in California that was shrinking that serious. Yes, they are shrinking, homie. They are, or it's so hot now that it's evaporating the lakes. This, you know what I'm saying? The only thing that's not evaporating is the sea. Salute to you, Miss 702. Appreciate you for stopping through. It's gonna be like Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome. If you've seen that movie, yeah. There's certain parts of this earth. Look, here's how I see it. Everything, we had a transformation of everybody in our, if you're from California, if you're from the West Coast, you're most likely you came from the South. Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, all that. In a minute, everybody's going to be transforming back to there and hoping they got water enough to sustain life for us. We're not going to have fish. We're not going to have, you know what I'm saying? The only thing you're going to be able to do, go to the sea and get some fish. King Real say, Goob, have you ever seen that movie Out of Crease? I haven't. Where humans in the earth get dumber and dumber. Soon they're using Gatorade for plants because it's electrolytes. Yes. Did you see that, King Real? When they're talking about now that the United States youth are the dumbest youths in the world. Our reading, our math, everything. Anybody can raise their hand if you can get your grandkids or your younger kids to write cursive right now. Because I can write cursive. That is extinct now. That's just one thing extinct. Speed math, extinct. Speed reading, extinct. Because they don't do it anymore in schools. Everything is programmed to what society is. And it's sad. This right here, like I say, this drought is something that needs to be talked about. We need to understand. We need to get um, some kind of system. Icebergs. You're right, David Reed. Icebergs are melting at an alarming rate, which is bringing the seas up higher. That's why they say Florida, if you're on the coast of Florida, about 10, 15 years, it's going to be, yeah, you're going to be extinct. Your shit going to be flooded out. We're getting monsoons more. We're getting tornadoes more. We're getting everything rain excessively more. Everything we getting more. But we ain't getting more fresh water. Even though it rains uncontrollably. A lot of times they don't have the capacity to hold that water that's coming from the sky, which they need to be doing. They need to get to a system. If you're not going to try to change seawater into drinking water, then you need to get every household some kind of tanks to grab the rainwater and use that personally for yourself. That's what people got to think. Just like we think about getting our own gardens, because I'm planning. My wife been on my neck. So let's get our backyard and get our gardens going so we can get that fresh fruit so we're not paying. Because you're going to be paying out an arm and a leg to get apples, oranges, or anything that needs to use water to grow those vegetables. They're going to be sky high. Why? Because there's a drought. They can't even use the water to get the vegetables. Boxing Conversations. I appreciate you stopping through, my niggas. Salute to my people. Salute to you, Army. I did 20 years in Navy. Navy ships do have systems that clean up seawater for drinking, right? But they did it in a mass. Family man. That's what they need to do. They need, instead of saying, oh, we trying to go to the moon after 50 years, ain't no water on the moon. We're not worried about that. We are worried about doing everything else. I seen, and I'm just gonna throw this the fuck out there. I seen somebody throw a $300,000 birthday party for a 1-year-old that don't know what the fuck she was looking at. And you couldn't have used $100,000 to say, listen, I need fresh water for the rest of my life at my house. But I'll spend $300,000 on a baby that don't know what the fuck she looking at. That's the stupidity that we have in our society. Money is shit. Money is buying fancy cars, clothes, jewelry, materialistic shit. And that shit is crazy. Because, my nigga, California, Arizona, New Mexico, Texas, Utah, all these West Coast states, they're going to be exempt if we don't have water because most of them are relying on the Hoover Dam. You know what I'm saying? And the Hoover Dam is drying up. I'm going to show the video. You seen the video in Texas where it dried up. It showed tracks of ancient dinosaurs. I got that video. I'm gonna play it, and then I'm gonna play some videos of what you call them. But the thing of it is, man, we need to. Other than this, all this, we want to bang. We want to conform that fuck, I don't even want to go that route. Because we already know that in society we hate each other anyway, no matter what we talk about. We're not talking about what our needs are. Our needs on the West Coast need to be worrying about how we gonna change this and put money in. If you a millionaire, you need to be putting half your millionaire, your money into finding ways to get water to your mansion, cause your mansion ain't gonna work if you ain't got water. You ain't gonna live long if you ain't got fresh water. You think bottled water is just gonna suffice? They're gonna run out of bottled water. You're gonna run out of bottled water. Cowboy says, family man, I think the difference in the money needed to treat water for millions of people compared to hundreds of thousands. Exactly. Some people need to put that money into it if you're a millionaire. Why do you think millionaires are trying to leave here? Why are they so interested in, hey, I want to get a ship to go to the moon. Moon ain't got no water. You're going to have to take some water up there to survive. Mars ain't got no water. I ain't seen nobody say they found more water on the moon. You got to use it for here. No matter what you do, no matter what your expenses is. Water conservation is a very serious thing. I remember them pushing water conservation in the early 90s, and no one took it serious. And you know what, Reggie? They not taking it serious now. Nobody is really taking it serious. If you look at the news, man, they might. I got you got more people on social media that get 2 million views on some bullshit. 2 million views on some bullshit of a motherfucker beating up a motherfucker or getting shot. You get 2 million views. You won't get 2 million views on a motherfucker saying, hey, Lake Mead is drying up. The Hoover Dam is, look at the ring around the Hoover Dam, and that ring started where the water level was 40 feet high 20 years ago, and look where it is now. We had 1,076 feet of water. If we get to 1,050, the turbines on this Hoover Dam ain't gonna work no more. You don't get no million views for that. You ain't gonna get million views for that. What's up with you, Bernie Smith? Appreciate you stopping through. King Real say, we would be a billionaire, the person that creates an alternative water source. They already have synthetic fuel. It's only a matter of time. And that's why I said, King Real, I believe water is going to be the next gold. It's going to be the next gold. They ain't figured out how to go to the South Pole, start getting some of them big blocks of ice because they can't move them because they melting at a rate that's exceptionally extensive to everybody. We don't care about that though. We care nothing about that until it starts affecting. Can you go to Vegas and gamble? No, you can't go to Vegas and gamble because niggas ain't got no lights now. Oh, you can't go to Vegas no more because them niggas ain't got no water. Because 80 or 70% of their nutrition for Vegas is off the Hoover Dam. So I'm gonna play this video. Let's look at it, and y'all tell me, what you think about what this video has as far as the the drying up of it. Let's get into it.
So the Paluxy River is pretty much gone dry this drought. What's cool about our river is what you'll find in the river. Just sweep a little bit of the dirt and dust away. And this is what you'll find. Dinosaur tracks. You see the claw marks. Pretty good size. Theropod. These are awesome tracks. And these are normally underwater, so you don't usually get to see these. It's shallow water, but they're usually covered in dirt and silt.
Now those are supposed to be tracks of dinosaurs. Some people don't believe that we ever had dinosaurs. Why? Because the Bible doesn't speak about dinosaurs. It's one of the major fascinations of society changing history. And if we never had dinosaurs, I don't know. Those prints, what, Bigfoot? Nah, I don't think Bigfoot. But it's crazy that the water level has went that low that it shows tracks of big animals walking into water that was at one point in time in history 40, 50 feet deep. But we don't think about that.
There's tons of them. This size. Some big claws.
Revealing water levels across much of the continent.
This is another weird one to me. This was the Stonehedge that was underwater that the drought brought up. When they did a reservoir, they had the water go over this Stonehedge. A Spanish Stonehedge looked just like the Stonehedge we seen. The water receded so much that it brought this out. I mean, it was underwater for hundreds of years. And now we being able to see it. If you don't see this as a historic problem, that is a problem. I don't care what it is. We don't have the money to do anything else, but we don't look at this as being a problem.
Are at the lowest they've been in centuries, and historical artifacts once submerged are now being uncovered. Our foreign correspondent, James Longman, is at the extraordinary site of one of them in Spain. Good morning again, James.
Yeah, good morning, Michael. This is the Dolmen del Guadalperal, the Spanish Stonehenge. It is something like 5,000 to 7,000 years old. It's absolutely extraordinary, but we shouldn't be seeing it. It should be underwater. This entire area should have a much higher water level, and that is because there's a massive drought in Europe at the moment, the worst in 500 years. But it has meant some extraordinary discoveries.
Monuments from the past warning us about our future. The Domain of Guadalperal in central Spain is a monolithic structure dating back some 3,000 years before Christ. Made up of 150 granite stones arranged in a circle, like the famous Stonehenge, there are all kinds of theories on what this mysterious place was for.
Los hombros.
Oh, it's a human.
Exacto.
Right, so this is the main stone at the front of the tomb, and it's anthropomorphic, so it's supposed to be in the shape of a human being. And on the front is a serpent, and that is thought, it was on all kinds of tombs in the prehistoric era, and it was for protection.
It's possible it was used as a solar temple or as a burial ground by prehistoric communities. Roman remains have also been found nearby.
These stones were discovered about 100 years ago, but then in the 1960s, this whole area was flooded to make way for a reservoir. When the water recedes, archaeologists are thrilled. Climate scientists, not so much. They say it's a warning about dangerously high temperatures.
Europe is in its worst drought in 500 years. France, Italy, Germany and the UK all issuing heat and drought warnings. Take a look in France, the greenery of August and Lyon last year compared to this. Farmers losing valuable land to drought and wildfires. Thousands losing lives and livelihoods, hitting crop harvests and driving up food prices. All across the continent, other discoveries show the scale of Europe's heatwave, like these 20 Nazi warships re-emerging from the retreating Danube River after decades under the surface. This ancient bridge revealed in Italy, built for the Emperor Nero nearly 2,000 years ago. And perhaps the most ominous sign, what are called hunger stones from the river Elbe, carvings written to commemorate historic droughts. This one, carved in 1616, reads, "If you see me, weep."
And I just want to, I just had to. Did you see? It says, if you see me weep. They knew in the past that if we start effing up this planet, which we are doing, we was gonna start seeing a drought. We was gonna start seeing the heat. We was gonna see the evaporation of water. And somebody had the decency to put that in and engrave that in the rock and said, if you see me, you better weep. In other words, it's telling us, if you see me, nigga, we in trouble. And we are in trouble. That's some scary shit. And nobody is even like, nah, nigga, let's keep it going, nigga. I need some rims to go by, homie. I got some new clothes, nigga. I'm finna go clubbing, homie. You know what I'm saying? What we gonna do? That's some scary, crazy shit. And that was engraved thousands of years ago.
Now, this reservoir is at just 23% capacity. Take a look. Everywhere you see sand, everywhere you see these sandy banks, right up to the tree line, that is where the water should be. And water scarcity is really serious. Obviously, for crops, farmers are unable to produce food. That sends food prices up for the rest of us. But we're all talking about energy. We're all trying to find ways to make cleaner and cheaper energy. And Europe uses water to generate energy a lot. They've got hydroelectric dams, nuclear power, and this summer, because of this drought, energy capacity has been really badly hit. So in so many ways, this weather, climate change, it just really badly affects our lives. Even though we get to see some incredible things, this really is a warning from the past.
And see, and that's another thing that we have to speak on. Almost most countries use water as their energy source. If you run out of that water to use your energy source, where are you going to get your electricity, your energy? They've said that for years. Was the tombs in Egypt a sign to tell us that, hey, that drought that's happening in Egypt is a sign because they use water? If we go back and I bring up the Pyramid of Giza, the Pyramid of Giza, everybody thinks was supposed to be a tomb. That was used as a monolithic electrical tombstone where water was ran through that tomb to make electricity. Once the water in Egypt dried up, that tomb was no longer useful. It's just a pyramid that's in the middle of Egypt, all three pyramids. But the main pyramid, the Pyramid of Giza, it was used through water to use the electricity to push out whatever. They say that the Pyramid of Giza was like the light source of Egypt at that time. But once the water dried up, what was it? It was desolate. It's no more useful. What's up with you, sir, Uncle Buck? Appreciate you coming through, my brother. Weren't able to power these electric cars that they're punish, punish on us. pushing on us. Not sure what you're saying there, my brother. Boxing conversation, watch the prices skyrocket. Yeah, because if you don't have water for plants or for fruits and vegetables, you can't grow anything without water. Nothing's gonna grow without water. It's just gonna dry up. I mean, what, you gonna use sewer water to water your plants that you gonna eat? No, I mean you need some respectable water. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was a typo, family man. I was just trying to read it. You know what I'm saying? I just couldn't configure what you were trying to say. But no, I understand, man. We need water. Our water is drying up, people. Our water is drying up.
It's been a long, hot summer. Droughts and heat waves have spread across entire continents worldwide, killing crops, drying up rivers, and raising worries about our planet's future. Even as they reveal tantalizing glimpses of the past, normally hidden from view. Like this ornate 17th century garden in England. 300-year-old paths and hedges laid bare by record-setting heat. Most were revealed by falling water levels as rivers shriveled. Like this island in China and its Buddhist statues believed to be 600 years old. I'm worried, this local man said. I feel like the environment has just become quite bad. I think this is a warning to us. In Spain, a dried-out reservoir displayed an entire village swallowed when the dam was built. The feeling is nostalgic as people see the home of a family member, their own, or of someone they know re-emerge, said the town's mayor. Some even date back to prehistory. In Texas, a dinosaur left these 113 million-year-old tracks. Other waterways exposed the scars of history's worst trials, like this bomb from World War II destroyed by the Italian army. And in Serbia, a graveyard for sunken Nazi warships emerged from the Danube. But other rivers convey urgent warnings about what's to come. In German tradition, these hunger stones mark the water levels that preceded famines. The oldest one, from 1616, reads, "If you see me, weep." Climate experts like Bob Ward say these hints from history shouldn't be ignored. What do you think that means for our present day?
We're seeing more intense, more frequent heat waves happening all around the world.
He says it's something we may have to get used to.
They're definitely going to continue, and it's going to get worse for at least the next 30 years until the world reduces their emissions of greenhouse gases to zero.
A new reality that's living up to old warnings. So guys, even though this grass is getting a much needed drink, the damage from this past summer's extreme weather has already been done. And according to scientists, we're in for a lot worse in the years to come. Tom?
All right, Matt Bradley first. Matt.
Lake Mead is hitting historically and dangerously low water levels. This is the reason why we need to conserve water, and this is the reason why we're only allowed to, or told to, water our lawns twice a week.
Well, now the water level is getting to a point where it could cause significant problems for the southwestern U.S. Phil Schumann joins us live from Lake Mead now with more. Phil, good.
And I just wanted to stop this just to say something, man, because we're getting small increments of what the news wants to speak on about this. When I believe that every news agency on the West Coast need to be planted in everybody's head. We got to conserve water. We building all these buildings. We're advancing. Everybody's still trying to move west. Populations are growing. But just think about the minute. If anybody just think about what you use in your household on a daily basis of water. That's 100,000 people doing the same thing that you doing every single day. How are we using and processing this water? How are we, you flushing the toilet, you shitting, pissing in the same water, you're drinking, you're brushing your teeth, you're doing everything Where's the fresh part? Because we can't use, we're getting to a point where you can't drink sink water. You go to the store, you got bottled water where, hey, it may be good for you, it may not. What if down the line they say, hey, if you was drinking such and such bottled water, it wasn't really filtered the same way? We don't know none of that until years down the line. Because there's got to be a point if you're not getting water excessively. And this is where the point in this video, I think that's coming up. You'll see where the ring of the Hoover Dam and Lake Mead was at 20 years ago and how fast that dissolved in 20 years. And just think, well, damn, if it dissolved that fast in 20 years, what is it going to do in 5 or 10 years from now? And our population is growing. I regress.
Morning. Well, good morning. This was the nation's largest man-made reservoir, formed in the 30s when Hoover Dam was built. But you can see the white lines behind me. That used to be the water level. In fact, where I'm standing was way underwater. Levels are down almost 200 feet in the past 20 years. And that is alarming. And that is the reason that we all have to conserve. This is Lake Mead at historic lows, the so-called bathtub ring showing where the water level used to be, a decline that began some 20 years ago and is accelerating, alarming to locals and tourists like Rudd Baker.
Yeah, I am a bit worried because the water level is rather low.
Low?
Yeah.
Take a look at the dramatic satellite views from space of a shrinking Lake Mead, the nation's largest man-made reservoir, providing water to Arizona, Nevada, California, Mexico, through the Colorado River Project. Lower levels here mean less supply for all customers, whether for agriculture, commercial, or residential use. William Deverell is a USC history professor.
So if I'm in Southern California looking at these pictures of Lake Mead, what should I be doing?
Conserving water at every chance you get. Conserving water at the individual level, conserving water at the citywide or even countywide level, statewide level. Thinking hard about different uses of water.
You can see by the numbers that...
Yeah, I'm going to pause this right here. I'm going to pause this right here so people can see. These is just the last, from 2020 to 2022. From 1,096 to 1,079 to 1,054 and 22. Now listen to what this man says for you Vegas people in Arizona, California, New Mexico, whoever's relying on the levels from Lake Mead and the Hoover Dam. I want you to listen to what he said. Remember, right now we at 1,054 feet above sea level. Watch what happens when that 54 leaves, which didn't take far from 196 to 79 to 54. So every year it then dropped 20 feet. Watch what he says.
Continued decline in recent years in the water level.
Certainly this drought has been a slow-moving disaster.
If it gets below 1,000 feet, it will no longer be able to power the hydroelectric turbines at nearby Hoover Dam.
We are definitely getting to a point of crisis mode. If nothing else, this has been a wake-up call for the past 2 decades. Some of us have woken up and taken the conservation initiative and taken water efficiently seriously. And those of us who haven't done that yet need to do it now.
Back live at Roxy and Tony, we told you about the bodies that have been discovered as the lake recedes. There's all kinds of things at what was the bottom of the lake, covered by water. That's an old Yamaha stereo receiver. So the message is loud and clear when you see it in person. It's so dramatic here. Again, this is only one of the sources of water in Southern California, but it's also a source of hydroelectric power from nearby Hoover Dam. And here's a new word for us to learn: aridification. aridification. They're not talking about just a drought, but they're talking about drought conditions exacerbated by continued high temperatures that basically are drying out the Southwest, resulting in things like this. Tony, Araxia?
It is so dramatic for you to say where you are standing at this moment used to be underwater.
Yeah.
That just says it all right
significantly underwater.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
Wow.
And all the secrets now
And
being
all the
revealed.
things, all the random things you were talking about earlier, right? What did you say they found? It was not a boat, but
It was a B-29, the wreckage of a B-29 bomber that crashed on a training. I mean, there's all kinds of things here. And this is the marina here. You can see the salt and mineral deposits on the white line on the low-level mountains behind this. Really, I mean, the marina is way below. It's down almost, as I mentioned, almost 200 feet in the past 20 years.
Wow.
Did you see that? Look at that mountain. Look at that mountain right there. That's how high the water was. That's how high the water was only 20 years ago. Only 20 years ago. I mean, how old were you 20 years ago? That water was that high 20 years ago. Just think. Give it, and it wasn't even hot. It wasn't even hot. We didn't have excessive heat warnings 20 years ago. We didn't have all these flash floods and triggers of tornadoes continuously when outside of tornado season. But that's 20 years ago. Man, what, 5-10 more years? This lake is gonna be gone. That shit is just sad. I mean, like Cowboys, sad. I mean, for real. And we don't talk about it. We keep it moving. We keeping it moving.
The U.S. is drying up, shrinking water supplies in the West. So what happens when a giant man-made lake gets so dramatically unmade? Lake Mead was formed following the construction of the Hoover Dam on the Colorado River in 1935. According to the U.S. Bureau of Reclamation, the government...
That white line that's around that ring is where they started off with the water. That's where they started off with the water. Is that not crazy? That's how far it went down throughout the whole thing 20 years ago. That is crazy. And the Colorado River runs almost 200 miles. You're telling me 200 miles worth of water in 20 years have dropped to that level? Bro, we in trouble in about 5 or 10 years, man, and ain't nobody gonna wake up. I don't know what to say.
Agency that manages power and water in the West, it holds more water than any reservoir in the United States. It's also one of the largest man-made lakes in the world. Essentially a flooded canyon, the 229 square mile lake snakes for 115 miles through the deserts of Arizona and Nevada. It seems vast and never-ending, an inland sea of epic proportions that supplies water and electricity to millions of homes. But Lake Mead reached its highest volume in the summer of 1983 and has been shrinking ever since. This historic high point, 1,226 feet, is easily referenced by the white bathtub ring of minerals extending up the rock walls bordering the lake, left behind when the water level dropped. According to Reuters, the top of the ring now towers 157 feet above the current surface of the lake. This is equivalent to the Statue of Liberty plus an additional 6 feet. In 2021, the lake's surface elevation plunged to around 1,067 feet, prompting the Bureau of Reclamation to declare a water shortage for the first time in history. Just 1 year later, in July 2022, Lake Mead's water level fell to around 1,040 feet.
Mother Nature is going to have to come to the rescue, or we're going to have to really look at some different ways at how we use water.
According to CNN, the lake is now at just 27% of its capacity, its lowest volume since it was filled in the 1930s. With the American West now 22 years into a mega drought, many people are wondering what would happen if Lake Mead dried up completely. Well, it wouldn't be good. The Lake Mead National Recreation Area was created by the U.S. Congress in 1964. becoming the first nationally designated area of its kind in the country. It is also the largest, occupying 1.5 million acres, an area bigger than the state of Delaware. Featuring desert wilderness, canyons, and 2 lakes, Lake Mead National Recreation Area is a natural wonderland. According to Travel Awaits, 7.6 million people visited the area in 2021. In fact, it was the 5th most visited national park in the U.S., and Lake Mead is its centerpiece. Surrounded by desert in all directions, the giant lake offers a cool respite from the sweltering heat. Water-related activities like boating, fishing, and swimming are the area's main attractions. But enjoying water recreation at Lake Mead is already a challenge. According to the Arizona Republic, extending boat launches to keep them open is a constant effort, as most are no longer underwater. Several of its marinas have already relocated to deeper water, and some have closed down permanently. Boaters and swimmers must also be wary of constantly changing terrain, as formerly deep areas are now shallow. As the water levels continue to drop, such problems will increase until there is no water left to enjoy at all. And without water, the oasis would evaporate into the surrounding desert like a mirage.
It's extremely sad, to say the least. It's kind of tragic.
According to CNN, the Colorado River system, which includes Lake Mead, supplies water to 40 million people in 7 western states. Lake Mead alone brings water to 25 million people living in Nevada, Arizona, California, and parts of Mexico. California has the oldest rights to the lake and therefore gets first dibs. In times of water shortage, the federal government activates a plan in which water use is dialed back in tiers, depending on Lake Mead's water levels. In January 2022, with water levels at 1,066 feet, the U.S. Bureau of Reclamation issued its first water shortage declaration, and Tier 1 water cutbacks were put into effect. This meant Arizona had to reduce its water use by 18%, Nevada by 7%, and Mexico by 5%. Since then, the lake has already fallen below the 1,050-foot cutoff, meaning Tier 2 cuts will be initiated soon, further reducing Arizona and Nevada allotments. A Tier 3 shortage, in which lake levels drop to 1,038 feet, is expected to happen by July 2023. At that point, California would begin losing water too. There is no Tier 4. John Insminger, the general manager of the Southern Nevada Water Authority, told USA Today, "We're 150 feet from 25 million Americans losing access to Colorado River water." No one is more concerned about Lake Mead's plummeting water levels than Sin City. Las Vegas relies on Lake Mead for a shocking 90% of its water, per the National Park Service.
Y'all get that? Did y'all hear that? Lake Mead, Las Vegas, uses 90% of their water resources. 90% is what Vegas. So everybody that want to go out to Vegas and party, get their gamble on, do all that, they should be the main people. Their governor, their mayor, their whatever, their resources need to be saying, listen, we got millionaires up here in Vegas. We need to put our money together. We need to reallocate some kind of seawater or something to get some water because they ain't going to last that long. If they usage is 90%, that's crazy.
Historically, water was pulled from the lake and transferred to Las Vegas through a large intake pipe installed in 1971. But as the lake level dropped, the pipe was rendered inoperable. A new pipe was fitted deeper in the lake in 2000, only to meet the same fate. Desperation led to a more involved solution. In 2015, construction on a 3-mile tunnel 600 feet below the lake's bottom was completed. Called the third straw, the tunnel allows water to be pulled from the very bottom of the lake.
The construction of this third intake and eventually a new pumping station will help secure Southern Nevada's access to its water resources in Lake Mead.
If Lake Mead were to dry up or just drop to a surface elevation of 895 feet, Las Vegas would be in dire straits. The city knows this and has taken action. Despite its population growing by 750,000 since 2002, the city has managed to use 26% less water by eliminating lawns, adhering to watering schedules, and harvesting gray water, which is processed and returned to Lake Mead. Even the famous Bellagio hotel fountains use a mix of a private well and recycled water. John Insminger told CBS News, "For having a reputation as a city of excess, we're actually one of the most water-efficient cities in the world."
Everything we use indoors is recycled. If it hits a drain in Las Vegas, we clean it, we put it back into Lake Mead.
Swimming pools and green lawns have become a staple of southwestern cities like Phoenix, Los Angeles, and Las Vegas. But this won't be sustainable for much longer. According to the Environmental Protection Agency, as much as 60% of residential water is used outdoors for irrigating lawns, watering gardens, and filling pools. In fact, keeping a thirsty 1,000 square foot lawn alive can use as much as 330 gallons of water per irrigation session. Meanwhile, the average backyard swimming pool requires around 18,000 gallons of water to fill and can lose thousands of gallons each month to evaporation. Right now, water conservation efforts are left up to the individual in most areas, with a few cities like Mesa, Arizona offering incentives to replace lawns with native plants. But if Lake Mead were to dry up, water restrictions would become stricter, and such luxuries could be banned altogether. Already, many southwestern cities have placed restrictions on outdoor water use, per a 2010 study from the National Academy of Sciences. In addition to supplying water to many people in the Southwest, Lake Mead is also a key component of one of the largest hydroelectric power plants in the United States. Hoover Dam normally supplies electricity to about 1 million people in Arizona, Nevada, and Southern California. Water from Lake Mead must travel through the dam's 17 turbines to produce power, but lately there has been less water flowing due to the lake's low levels. The dam is already operating at a reduced capacity, producing 33% less electricity, according to a report from 8 News Now. If the lake level drops to 950 feet, the dam's older turbines will begin to struggle, and according to the Las Vegas Sun, if it drops to 895 feet, it reaches a state called dead pool, where Hoover Dam can no longer produce hydroelectric power or move water downstream. If Lake Mead reaches dead pool and Hoover Dam powers down, Arizona, Nevada, and Los Angeles will be hit the hardest, according to the U.S. Bureau of Reclamation. And the negative effects probably wouldn't stop there. If Glen Canyon Dam, a similarly sized dam on the Colorado River, were to fail, not only would the cost of electricity in impacted areas skyrocket, but the whole power grid could be disrupted, especially if it happened in summer. According to The Guardian, a shocking 75% of the water...
See, that's crazy. You know, when you think about it, I mean, just think about that. What people fail to realize is eventually that's where it's going to get to. They're saying, there's a possibility. But who in their right mind is, you know, as a society, we are some arrogant MFers. We some arrogant motherfuckers, man. We don't care about none of that. We're going to use as much water we want to. We're going to do, like out here in AZ, a lot of yards, we have rocks. You know, you have very few people that have grass yards that use water to water their grass. But understand, look how many people in these states, that we just don't give a fuck about that commodity. We think it's excessive, or we think that um, it's all given to us. You know, we are on that everything is acceptable for us. We can use it to expansive. It's expansive for everything that we have. Food is expansive to us because we the United States. Nothing can affect us. Nothing can harm us. Nothing can take what we have. We don't think about that. What we think about is the best in a materialistic. We are a materialistic society. Period, point blank. We are a materialistic society. And we don't think about the next day. We don't think about tomorrow. We don't think about the future. We don't think about none of that. We think about present time. Nigga, I need water today. At the maximum, I can use as much water as I want to today. Cowboy say, Goob, did you see the news about the Gold King mine spilled in 2015? I didn't. It turned a large section of the Colorado River into brownish gold. 3 million gallons of wastewater was released into it. I wouldn't be, I couldn't, I wouldn't be, like I said, we are a nation of people that are excessive. We want to be um, exclusive. We want to do it the way we want to do it. Nigga, I'm gonna use as much water as I want to use. I want to eat as much vegetables as I want to eat. Those that are not rich, they not thinking about it. They just thinking about the food, the process of how I need to get tomatoes, I need to get onions, I need to get this and that to make my food to feed my kids. If you give it to me for free, there, I thank you. Okay, that's the poor generation. The rich generation say, fuck it, I don't care. I pay whatever I need to pay to get what I'm going to get. I'm going to use as much water, charge me for whatever. And they don't think about the aspects of saying, man, you got to help the rest of society. You need to cool down on how much water and shit you use to get your grass green in front of your $1 million mansion to help others out. But then they want us to worry about when they living up in the Hollywood Hills or they living up in these mansions in a fire because of the drought, that they have to use the same water. Why they ain't using seawater to take out fires? I see a whole bunch of planes and helicopters with them big ass bags that they go dip the water in. They not going to the ocean. They're not going to Venice Beach. They're not going to Santa Monica. They're not going to none of that and grabbing that seawater to knock out them fires. Where they getting the water from? They getting the water from the reservoirs that we drink out of. People don't even look at that shit. Hey, why you ain't flying your plane all the way to Santa Monica Pier, or I mean Santa Monica Beach, or Huntington Beach, or anything on the west coast to knock out them fires in California? They go to the closest place they can get. And where is that closest place? Are reservoirs of water that we need to use. That's another extension of it. But we're not going to get that shit until later on, I mean. I don't, I can care less about that. It's the future of it. I don't plan on being here that long. It's for my grandkids, my kids and my grandkids, and what that future is. That's the thing that we need to push our next generation to say, hey, homie, we need to change it for our life. Because for us old niggas and the niggas that's on my platform that may be my age, nigga, we ain't gonna be here that long. What we worried about? Most of us on this, that's content creators that I see on YouTube here, we worried about some of the weirdest shit in the world. We worried about who on a platform I can't go on. I'm getting beef from a nigga because I'm on another nigga platform because another nigga don't like him. But we talking political, spiritual shit about society outside of what is going on nowadays. We need to look at the future. That's why my platform is about UFOs and shit. That's the future. Space is the future. Water is the future. Land, we can build as much as we want to. Why is you building this shit that you can't suffice? You can't suffice to contain that ability to live. Why can't we do that? Because we worried about the next person. We worried about that material shit. We worried about a whole lot of things that is non-existent. It don't matter if you got $1 million or you got $1. If you don't have water, homie, that millionaire is not going to survive. He might have the option to be able to buy something and change it into something for drinking, but you're not going to live with that money. No ifs, ands, and buts about it. Cowboy say I could be wrong, but I think too much salt will do some damage to nature. That's probably why they don't want to use seawater to fight fires. But why would you got to use something though, cowboy? Or you going to use all what we need resources to live? To fight a fire, you might as well let it burn up. You know, I'm not saying it's wrong or it's right. I'm saying that we have to have my thing is, why haven't we changed or put money into making, which is 70% of our earth, which is water. It's only 30% land, maybe 70%, and I might be wrong, it might be 60%, 40% land. I know it's more water than it is land. We need to put our money into changing that water that we have into water that's going to survive society. If not, it's gonna end. If you're on the West Coast, you're gonna have to leave the West Coast sooner or later. Because if you used water to get electricity and do everything, and like they say, they built the Hoover Dam and they used the water to make electricity. It dried up just like it's dried up the pyramids of Giza.
Water taken from Lake Mead goes toward irrigating crops like alfalfa and hay, which are used to produce cattle feed. Under Tier 1 restrictions, which primarily impact the agricultural industry, Arizona farmers are already working with 60% less water in the desert, according to Modern Farmer.
If we don't have irrigation water, we can't farm.
As a result, up to 40% of Arizona's farmland may lay fallow, meaning the state's main crops, alfalfa, hay, and cotton, are not being produced at the usual rate. The ramifications of this reach further than you might think. Cattle feed prices will increase due to scarcity, which will in turn cause the prices of beef and dairy products to increase. As the University of Arizona notes, Yuma, Arizona is also the nation's main grower of winter greens like kale, spinach, and romaine lettuce. So you can expect to pay more for those too. With Tier 2 and Tier 3 water cutbacks looming on the horizon, interruptions to the nation's food supply will only get worse. Soon, California, which produces 2/3 of the United States' fruits and nuts and 1/3 of its vegetables, will be impacted. California has already started removing almond trees, which require a lot of water to grow. If Lake Mead's water supply is exhausted, such shortages and high prices will become the norm for everyone in the U.S. As Lake Mead's water level drops, so does its water quality. According to the National Park Service, contaminant drops, so does its water quality. According to the National Park Service, contaminants from the newly exposed shorelines are re-entering warm, shallow areas and becoming more concentrated. And this is just the beginning of what could happen if the lake keeps drying up. In the desert of California lies another man-made lake condemned to death, the Salton Sea. As CNBC notes, it was once a thriving recreational area in the mid-1900s. But as the drought took hold, things went horribly wrong. Salt and toxins from years of agricultural runoff began to concentrate in the water as the majority of the lake evaporated, becoming too caustic to support an aquatic ecosystem. Businesses, fish and birds alike went belly up. Today, it is a wasteland.
And less than an hour away from Palm Springs.
Exactly. Some of the
My bad. I just wanted to put this up. Because somebody say, Bo Woodson, you must be a new person in my chat. Appreciate you coming in. Yeah, the shit is depressing, homie. It is depressing. We don't talk about it though as a society. You know what I'm saying? We don't get views on shit like this. Not at all. We'll get views on bullshit. We'll get views on niggas talking shit to motherfuckers and doing all that. Yes, but this type of shit is depressing. Right here, Salton Sea, I used to go fishing at Salton Sea. You know what I'm saying? But the shit is drying up. That's what we need to see. That's what we need to focus on. We not gonna focus on it. Man, I'm just one nigga talking about it on my platform. But it's depressing.
The richest areas in California, we're just in their backyard.
We can expect to see something similar happen if Lake Mead dries up. Real estate in the lakeside communities of Boulder City, Meadview, and Henderson would likely plummet. Locals who once enjoyed a beautiful lake in their backyard and relied on tourism for income would be faced with a cruel choice: leave or stay in.
Look, just look at the ring. Look at the ring around that. That's where the water used to be. That top, where that white is, at the top of that white part, that's where the seas used to be. Only 20 years ago. Only 20 years ago, homie. That shit is crazy. But, hey, we got other things we got to worry about. Hey, nigga don't like me. Or niggas doing this. Or our government ain't taking care of us. It's not going to worry about whether you Republican, you Democrat, or you independent. None of that is going to matter when we have no water to suffice our big ass cities that we continuously building on, that we continuously making buildings that have to have flushable toilets, that have to have sink with water to brush your teeth, that have to have showers to run water. It's not going to mean anything. The Yale Nation podcast, I appreciate you. It must be your first time in. Hope you subscribe to the channel, homie, and get your like in. But I appreciate you coming through, bro.
The mess. The Lake Mead National Recreation Area is home to 387 species of native animals, 10 of which are threatened with extinction, according to the National Park Service. Per the National Audubon Society, it is also designated as an important bird area. 320 different bird species have been documented in Lake Mead and its surrounding environments, including the endangered southwestern willow flycatcher. According to a 2011 study published in Lake and Reservoir Management, the razorback sucker, a critically endangered freshwater fish once common in the Colorado River Basin, has maintained a population in Lake Mead since the 1970s, one of the last breeding populations of the species. The relict leopard frog, previously thought to be extinct, only survives in a few springs within the Lake Mead National Recreation Area. Without the lake and its springs, this species would certainly go extinct. One way or another, a lack of water in the Southwest would likely prompt people to move. In addition to the possible loss of luxury and jobs, prices for water and power would likely skyrocket. This could be enough to trigger a mass migration out of the Southwest. And it wouldn't be the first time in American history that drought caused such an event. In the 1930s, extreme drought caused the Dust Bowl in the Great Plains region, leaving many Americans without water, money, or prospects. 2.5 million people had moved out of the Plains states by 1940. It is currently the largest migration in U.S. history. Per the World Economic Forum, water shortages and climate change create more refugees than we realize. After all, a person can only live 3 days without water, and they also cannot grow food without it. It's really quite simple. Water is essential for life, and when it's in short supply, people will travel.
And that's the whole. Oh, let me get out of here. That's the whole facets of the video that I was showing, man. We can't live without water. And the drought that's going on, I mean, we need to be more persistent on speaking on that, because it's going to get hard for us time and time again. We're not going to know it because we don't, in society, as us, as America, we don't care. We don't care till it affects us. Archangel say also the river Euphrates has dried up and the beasts are banning to come out true. Listen, everything on our earth is drying up because of the heat indexes that's going on. If you get in a if you're in a country that never got to 100 degrees, evaporation of water is easy. Put a cup outside in 100 and something degrees and see how fast that evaporation of that water is going to go. We don't know. You know what I'm saying? And it's bad. Um, it's bad. Thank you, family man. I appreciate it. You know what I'm saying? It is serious. It is something that we need to think about. It's something that we need to look into. It's something that all these people that's making this big money, why they not pushing this money to try to even find out? My thing is, why? Okay, people say, well, we can't change seawater into drinkable water. That's a lie. Money can do a whole lot. Money can get you out of space. I mean, out off the earth and into space. Money can get us doing a whole lot. Money, and you mean to tell me we can get out of space? We can go to Mars. We can go to the moon. We can't make a resource like water when we are fucking 70% of our planet is water, but seawater. That don't make no damn sense. You can't tell me that. You can't tell me that. That's a lie. If you put your money in the same, if you had the same energy to get off this planet and put that same money into saying, hey, we need to take and get this seawater into drinkable water. If nobody's seen this, I want to, you know, this was another one that I kind of went into. Let me see. This right here. I kind of put it in there with the dinosaur aspects of that's after something drying up, big footprints like that. There go another picture of Dinosaur Valley. That's in Texas. There's a Texas State Park. Big footprints. Either it's Bigfoot or it's dinosaurs. Take it how you want to. You can take it as fake. You can take it as whatever you want to. And then we get to this. This is a boat dried up in the sea land, heads up. Now just think how far that was, how deep that was in the water. All that water is gone. But that ship is still there. Somebody just put that there? No, I don't think so. There's another ship. Same. The water receded, brings out the ship that sank. Here's another one. Buildings being shown because of the simple fact that the water levels have deteriorated. There's so many different things. This was in the video that I showed. All this right here was underwater. maybe 20 years ago, all that was underwater. Look at the bridge. You could look at the bridge and see the line that goes across the top, the middle part of those bars that's in the water. That's how deep that water was. All that is gone. That is just all this right here. It says it. Locust Dawn, a small island with ancient temples on is China's largest freshwater Payang Lake in Zhejiang. The area is typically half submerged, but has been exposed during China's recent record heat wave. That is just, I mean, come on, man. I mean, some of these things is just you can't debate them. You cannot debate the things that's going on in society. You can't debate it. We getting hotter. Our waters are drying up. For the people that stay on the West Coast, think about it in 5 or 10 years. I mean, where are we gonna go if we don't have water? Where are we gonna go? What are we gonna do if we don't get these millionaires that want to do everything else? Don't put more money into trying to at least turn some of the seawater into water, drinking water. I mean, what? I don't understand that. We have a massive planet that's 70% water, 30% land, and we're not doing anything but dumping our trash, our plastic, or whatnot into the seawater. We're not trying to transfer that into something, that can help us over. You're right, Archangel. Game over, man. Game over. I'm gonna do what I did once before. Let me see if I can bring up this thing just to show you. Um, oh, I can't. There was a video that I had, and I did it once before. It was Depths of the Sea, and it shows how deep the sea is. But I believe most of y'all are hip to it. You know what I mean? But man, it's massive. And we need to be trying to use that water um, to get us back into it, or California, Arizona, Las Vegas. We're going to have to move back to where we came from, which is Texas, Louisiana, or any of that. You said, Archangel says, think about the water that they stole and put inside those caves so that they can live off. That's where a lot of the water went, along with the UFO sucking it up and putting it in areas of gods. That's true. But if alien technology knew that that's going to be the basis for survival on Earth, do they know that that commodity that they may be taking from us and going, they may have a ability to say, let's suck up this water and take it to wherever they going to get that water and change seawater into drinking or habitable water. We haven't come up with that technology right. You're right. Try to treat some of the ocean water. People's view of life is through a small window. Exactly. I mean, we are at We are at a so small minded. We are so small minded that we think that everything is a commodity to us, that it's excessive. And it's not excessive. And one thing that's not excessive to us is water. And you can look at that, some of the barren sites on earth that used to be plentiful with water, and it's not there anymore over thousands of years, hundreds of years. They're telling us right now, listen, in 20 years, the dam at the Hoover Dam, Lake Mead is already drying up. We ain't got but 5, 10 years before we can't even use the turbines to help Las Vegas out if the water drops lower than this. All them rich people in Vegas ain't saying, hey, man, we need to try to get some kind of water up in there to keep them turbines going, because if it gets lower than what it is, we're not going to have no lights. They're not worried about that. They worried about present time. And that's crazy. That is crazy. You know what I'm saying? Um, but that was my whole little live about that, and the water conservation. Hopefully we get people to even think about it. I'm just one person, one content creator, um, that's thinking about what we need to do in the future or our next steps to. Because I already know I can get as many bottled waters as I want. They ain't gonna last long. I can understand every human need to. If our vegetables, if our fruits, vegetables, any of that, they're gonna get sky high. Why? Because there's droughts. You don't think the prices of apples and tomatoes and all that hasn't went up? They have went up. The reason why they have went up, because they can't grow them without water. So they're going to have to put a tag on it for the little crops that do come out of the little water that they can use to make those crops. The shit is going to be expensive. Period, point blank. If you can only use a little bit of water, then you're only going to be able to grow a little bit of plants. You're not going to be able to grow that massive, what we were having when tomatoes was what, 30 cent, 40 cent a pound. Now tomatoes is what, 90 cent, almost $1 a pound. If you ain't been in the store, you just buying vegetables just to buy them. You're not even looking at the price that they done went up on. They're gonna go up. It's that economic, dude, no doubt. When supply goes down, prices go up. And that's what's gonna happen. The price is going to have to go up. Why? Because the supply of water to make them crops. Because whoever's using that water to get them crops, they probably getting charged an arm and a leg for the water that they need to grow them crops. Them fruit trees and all that need water on a continuous basis. Grapes are outrageously expensive. Yes, because they need water to grow them. They got to pay whoever's growing them grapes, got to pay for that water commodity to get them grapes, get that water to them grapes to continue their business aspect of it. It's all about money. It's all about business. No matter, you can Archangel and their Geo tomatoes and stuff. Yeah, but they still need some kind of water aspect to even grow them. That's the thing, man. That's what's crazy about it. I hope people will wake up. I want to send this out before I play this my UFO videos. I want to get it. I hope y'all understand it when y'all look at it and think to yourself, and maybe anybody can position themselves, the people that got money, to think that they need to invest more on what we need to do as a society in itself, to put money into trying to transfer seas, the salt water into regular water, because I guarantee you in the next 5 or 10 years, we are in trouble. And for us older people that might not be here, when it does, it's going to affect our kids and it's going to affect our grandkids. And if you don't push it out to them that they need to be more pushing to these government officials that all this money that you getting, you need to be more worried about our water conservation, our water and pollution. While you talking about we need to build buildings, we need to build more housing spots. It don't make no sense building all these housing spots because they need showers, they need toilets, they need water to wash their dishes. You building all these things, which is going to be extra water on the resources that we don't even have now, especially on the West Coast. Now, whatever the rain or whatever, if we're not going to put ourselves in a position to say we need to get tanks on the side of every house in America to collect this rainwater and use it just like a person would put um, solar panels on their house to conserve electricity and change it back and give it back to the electrical companies. We need to do the same thing with water. We need to do the same thing with water. Cowboy says, you may remember California was the #1 exporter of rice, fruit, dairy in the U.S. Now it's midterm and second option. Yes. Why? Because they can't use as much water as they used to use back in those times. They are limited them to how much water they can use. Why? Because California is building big ass buildings. They building all these housing complexes. They doing all this, that the resources for the water for them to use for vegetables and fruit is going to a nigga that need to flush his toilet, take a shower, use his water to wash his hands for 5-10 minutes. This shit is crazy, and it's not gonna get any better. I just want to put this here song up. Shout out to the nigga that continues to have my name in his mouth, nigga, because I always say this. My days is coming.
John Donnie made the beat and no more. When you on the rise, the haters start coming, and I ain't afraid to die, cause I know my day's coming. When you on the rise, the haters start coming, and I ain't afraid to die, cause I know my day's coming. When you on the rise, the haters start coming, and I ain't afraid to die, cause I know my day's coming. When you on the rise, the haters start coming, and I ain't afraid to die, cause I know my day's coming. Stop talking on my name, motherfucker, like you need that. I'm jumping out the passenger side, tell them to lean back. You don't want no smoke, well, fuck it, doggy style ain't no joke. I tear the roof off this bitch and give them what they want. So take some notes for the rubber ass as I ski skirt. Your bitch love sucking my dick, that's why her knees hurt. Can't love no trick. Hell no, you better get your bitch. I nutted all up on her face and you kissed her lips. Pimp, I got some homies that be drilling shit. Stop making all those threats, you ain't gon' kill shit. Bitch, I'ma slide in your girl accent. Tell the truth, motherfucker, I'm the face of the Dino. I was broke in the motherfucker, where was the love? Refused to dig my own grave, so I dug out the mud. I was raised around the killers and drive-bys, nigga. Y'all ain't never shot shit, that's just drive-by, nigga.
When you on the rise, the hitters start coming, and I ain't afraid to die, cause I know my day's coming. When you on the rise, the hitters start coming, and I ain't afraid to die, cause I know my day's coming. When you on the rise, the hitters start coming, and I ain't afraid to die, cause I know my day's coming. When you on the rise, the hitters start coming, and I ain't afraid to die, cause I know my day's coming.
Take my dick out your mouth when you mention me, and better say it with your chest when you speak on me. If I bust my heat, guaranteed I have these niggas running, having niggas screaming when they see them hollow tips coming. Empty this bitch, fuck it, let me reload my clip. Say bye to your soul when your shit get hit. Niggas better come harder when you niggas think you can diss. Running through these fucking haters, nigga, who next on my list? If you didn't know, dog, you still don't fear no nigga. I just fuck niggas, bitches, and end careers, nigga. Better keep your hoe close before that bitch get took. Niggas know they can't see me, so take a close ass look. Never bite the hand that feed you, niggas better say your grace. Never ask for a hand, I make my own damn play. Knock, knock, motherfucker, better let me in. I'm doggy style, motherfucker, don't say my name again.
When you on the rise, the hitters start coming, and I ain't afraid to die, cause I know my day's coming. When you on the rise, the hitters start coming, and I ain't afraid to die, cause I know my day's coming. When you on the rise, the hitters start coming, and I ain't afraid to die, cause I know my day's coming. When you on the rise, the hitters start coming, and I ain't afraid to die, cause I know my day's coming.
Shout out my nigga.
Loco. Shout out to you, my nigga. Hey, I'm out of here. Appreciate everybody that stopped through.
Stop.
For you,
Dear God, I wonder, can you save me? If you exist, then why the fuck you being lazy? Y'all some dumb motherfuckers if you sleep on me. And there any motherfucker try to creep on me. It gets deep. Now that you fools understand that you get slapped in the face with the palm of my hand. If you want me, California's where I'm at, nigga. Kill me, cuz. I think these niggas wanna kill me, cuz. Why these niggas wanna kill me, cuz? I think these niggas wanna kill me, cuz. Creep, these fools try to creep on a nigga like me to put me 6 feet deep. Well, I'ma tell you like this, that's a no-go, bitch, cause I'ma have the ass jumping like a pogo stick, like this. No mojo, Jojo, I'm riding solo, all in my Lolo. Karma's a bitch if you think that I slip off a couple of rounds to get these niggas off my dick. If you show no fear, then put your hands in the air and wave them around like you just don't care. It's going down, so tell me what you gonna do now. I'ma have their head nodding to the G-Funk sound. If I was you, shit, I would kill me too. From all the rhymes I deliver and the shit that I do. Gotta stay true. Round after round, pound after pound, it's going down. Why these niggas wanna kill me, cuz? I think these niggas wanna kill me, cuz. Why these niggas wanna kill me, cuz? I think these niggas wanna kill me, cuz. I think these niggas wanna kill me, cuz. Why these niggas wanna kill me, cuz? I think these niggas wanna kill me, cuz. Why these niggas wanna kill me, cuz? West side. Yeah. Respecting my hustle, my niggas on the mission. Can't fuck with a nigga when it comes to my lyrics. Born and raised in the Dino, so everything we do different. Your bitch ass ways don't never compare to my crib, cause motherfucker, we different. Can't compare to my crib, cause motherfucker, we different. Can't compare to my crib.
Any of y'all local fans, send it to him, nigga. This is for him.
When it comes to my lyrics, born and raised in the Dino, so
my nigga.
Your bitch ass ways will never compare to my grip, cause my energy ride with the windows all tinted. It's dark as fuck, so you can't see who up in it. When it comes to some pussy, I'll be there in a minute. Have your legs wide open so I can dive all up in it. Bitch, be sprung as fuck. Scream my name like a poster. Don't compare to your nigga, cause I ain't the nigga you used to. On the money making scheme to bring home all the riches. When you brag on your hoe, they don't compare to my bitches. Nigga respecting my trip, or I have your ass missing. I was raised in the Dino, so everything we do different. Show me love in my face, but niggas hating the distance. That's why I don't fuck with these niggas, cause they be acting like bitches. Taking my time with my lyrics so motherfuckers can hear it. If you rock with a nigga, then you can feel in your spirit that I'm the nigga they fear. People thinking I'm quitting. The crowd show you love, it's the one that be cheering. Motherfucking my hustle, my niggas on the mission. Can't fuck with a nigga when it comes to my lyrics. Born and raised in the Dino, so everything we do different. Your bitch ass ways don't never compare to my crib, cause motherfucker, we different. Can't compare to my crib, cause motherfucker, we different. Can't compare to my crib. See this crib and go long, way deep in the roots. If they don't wanna fuck, bitches get kicked with the boot. My crib is so sick, some niggas don't get the flu. Bitch, I'm doggy style, don't compare me to Snoop. A young nigga a fool, when I grab a two. Give it all that it got to make them run out their shoes. I've been grinding so long, so give props when it's due. And this shit don't stop until my life overdue. So motherfucker, who knew? I be the face of the West. California made, nigga, I put that shit on my chest. From the cradle to the grave until there ain't nothing left. Cop bullets to my body would be the cause of my death. Live and die by the tech. Goddamn, what a mess. These gangsta ass ways will have a bitch so wet. Nigga be acting untouchable until they chain off their neck. Now a nigga sitting high from the rhymes I possess. Yeah, respecting my hustle, my niggas on the mission. Can't fuck with a nigga when it comes to my lyrics. Born and raised in the Dino, so everything we do different. Your bitch ass ways don't never compare to my crib, cause motherfucker, we different. Can't compare to my crib, cause motherfucker, we different. Can't compare to my crib.
And since the nigga ain't never been to LA, we gonna put this here in your face, nigga. We gonna put this in your face. Before I go out, peace to my chat, peace to all the people that came in here. Once again, I'll say it. Local vision
way up and claiming
for
victims
you,
here
nigga.
in Los Angeles at a rate we haven't seen in decades. Already this year, at least 143 people have been murdered. Hundreds more have been shot. Our investigative reporter Eric Leonard's been tracking this alarming trend and what's behind it.
I came in this bitch with my soul on my sleeve. Baby gangster put me on because he knew I was a beast. A lot of niggas hated on me. I was light-skinned at 3 till they found out I was crazy and I always kept the peace. Fuck an image, nigga, fuck rap. In LA, we do the button-down flannels, no Chanel bag. 6'4", no Hellcat. It was me and Tiny Lefty in the alley. I know he felt that. Rest in peace, the homies that we lost. For real. LA is not safe and all this cap will get you killed. Green Bay happened, we was in a different field. Could've stayed up in the streets, but niggas found a different skill. Keep a spit up on a nigga like I will. Streets told me to go harder, but my mama told me chill. Ain't no nigga really feeling like I feel. Imagine seeing your closest homie go to court and start to squeal, nigga. Kill niggas, about to build her, I'ma drill niggas. I got some game for broken souls, I can heal niggas. And every time they play my songs, chills, nigga. Fuck your music, I don't ever really LA is not safe. LA is for the gang. LA is not safe, nigga. LA is for the gangsters. LA is for the gang members. LA is not safe, nigga. LA is for the gang members. And if you're thinking about taking a trip, think twice. Blowing red rags every time you hit a light. Extort you out your pockets if you think shit is light. Learn to read a book, but first we learn to fucking fight. You either neighborhood or gangster, down or south side, riding through the city with the pipe in the dark side. Shout out to the gangsters, thinking worldwide. And if they trippin', let them trip, let the tech fly. No tourists in my zone, we ain't scared cause we home. Raw nigga, catch you slipping and your brain will get blown. Might catch you at the Fox or the Beverly Center. 3rd Street Promenade, make your t-shirt wet. Catch a nigga at the Pink's King Taco or Lucy's. Homegirl caught him slipping cause he thought she was a groupie. Ride around dangerous, keep it coolie. Late night sliding down the shark, yeah, LA is not safe. LA is for the gangs. LA is not safe, nigga. LA is for the gangsters. LA is for the gang members. LA is not safe, nigga. LA is for the gang members. LA is not safe.
Hey, peace. I appreciate everybody that stopped through. Hey, man, conserve water. Think about what we're doing, in society, all the BS. I might, put that out there. I just want to send that message to my nigga that keeps messing with me. I don't got no problems with my brother. I'm trying to be on a different level. I'm not no Christian nigga. I'm not no political. I'm not none of that. Just keep it 100. We need to do as a society in totality. We need to take time to look at our resources, homie, because none of this is going to mean anything to none of us if we don't conserve. And one thing on the West Coast, we need to conserve water. We're going to be ass out in 5 or 10 years. I appreciate y'all. Salute to all my niggas. Free my nigga Huff. Free my nigga Big D Capone. Free my nigga Big Yahoo. Free all the little Yahoos. Lil Dre. Dead Eye Tim. If I forgot your name and you in there, my apologies. Hey, I'll be on the Biden moment. Peace out to all y'all, man. I appreciate anybody that supports the Goob Show. If you're looking at this, please like and subscribe to the channel, or dislike. Just subscribe to the channel. Get a nigga to 1,000, homie, organically, because I try to speak what I speak. Peace out to everybody.